Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. There are places in this world that the more you learn about them, the deeper you fall into their dark secrets. Today, I'm gonna tell you about one such place that'll probably keep you up at night. If you've watched all my videos, you know I cover some seriously messed up horror stories. But this one hits different. It's not just a story. It's an experience that happened to a real person in the Pacific Northwest. There's this forest in Oregon called the Whispering Pines. And guys, over 100 people go there every single year and never come back out alive. They hang themselves in those woods. Everyone in the local towns knows about it. Even the government knows. But here's the crazy part. They stopped releasing the actual numbers because they got so embarrassed about how many people were dying there. The spirits in this forest, they're not your typical ghosts. These are souls filled with nothing but rage and vengeance. They're the most dangerous kind of supernatural entities you can encounter. If you go in there, I honestly don't think you're coming back out alive. When I was researching this story, I found this absolutely insane account from a TV reporter named Mike Sullivan. What he experienced in those woods was so terrifying, it literally changed my perspective on the paranormal forever. Before I get into the story, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more horror, mystery, and true crime content like this. So guys, Mike Sullivan was this freelance journalist who'd been living in Portland, Oregon for about 20 years. One day, he's riding the city bus when he overhears these two people talking about Whispering Pines Forest. They're discussing how hundreds of people go there every year just to end their lives. Mike's sitting there thinking, what could possibly be so powerful about this place that it's basically a magnet for suicide? He'd been living in Oregon for 2 decades and had never actually visited this infamous forest. As a journalist, he realized this could be the story of a lifetime. So Mike makes up his mind right there on that bus. He's going to Whispering Pines Forest to investigate and write an article about it. But life got in the way. Work piled up, deadlines hit, and weeks passed without him making the trip. He was buried in his regular assignments, working with his team on breaking news stories around Portland. It was winter at the time, you know how brutal Oregon winters can get. Snow everywhere, freezing temperatures. That's when Mike gets this devastating news. One of his colleagues from the newsroom had committed suicide in some forest outside the city. When Mike looked into it, guess which forest it was? Whispering Pines. That was his breaking point. He immediately thought back to those people on the bus. Something was seriously wrong with this place, and he was going to find out what. No matter what work he had to cancel, no matter who tried to stop him, he was going to Whispering Pines Forest. The next morning, Mike drives out to the forest. He deliberately doesn't tell anyone where he's going because he knows they'd try to stop him. Everyone in Oregon knows that people who go to Whispering Pines don't come back. The few who do return are never the same. When Mike arrives at the forest entrance, it looks normal, just like any other wooded area in the Pacific Northwest. Tall pine trees, misty atmosphere, nothing too creepy at first glance. But as soon as he steps inside, things get weird fast. There's stuff everywhere. Fresh belongings scattered around like people just vanished mid-activity. Shoes sitting by tree stumps, backpacks hanging from branches, tents set up like someone pitched them the night before, but no people anywhere. The camping gear looks brand new. Food containers are still sealed. Sleeping bags are laid out perfectly. But where is everyone? Mike finds a clearing where he can sit and write his article. He spends a couple hours documenting everything he's seeing, writing about how the forest isn't as scary as the legends make it seem. He even writes that people could probably visit safely if they wanted to explore. Big mistake. Just as Mike's packing up to leave, he hears it. A man's voice screaming from somewhere deep in the forest. Not calling for help, just pure, agonized screaming. Mike stops dead in his tracks. The screaming stops. He waits, thinking maybe someone's trapped and needs help. Maybe he can actually save someone. But then, as he's about to leave again, he hears footsteps running behind him. Fast, heavy footsteps like someone sprinting through the underbrush. Mike spins around, nothing there. By now it's getting dark. Oregon winters mean the sun sets early, and Mike's basically stuck in the middle of these woods with only his phone's flashlight. This was back in 2011, so phone batteries weren't great. He tries to navigate out of the forest, but here's where it gets really messed up. Every time Mike thinks he's found the exit, every time he's sure he's walking in a straight line back to his car, he ends up right back at the clearing where he was writing his article. This happens 3 times. 3 times he walks in a completely straight line away from the clearing, and 3 times he somehow circles back to the exact same spot. Mike's starting to panic. His phone battery is dying, and that screaming starts up again. But this time, instead of running away, Mike decides to investigate. He's a journalist. This is what he came here for. He's going to find the source of that screaming no matter what. As Mike follows the sound deeper into the forest, he notices something that makes his blood run cold. Remember how when he first entered the forest, there were dolls hanging from some of the trees? Well, now there are dolls hanging from every single tree. Hundreds of them, like they multiplied while he wasn't looking. The screaming is getting louder, and it's coming from the direction of his clearing. So Mike heads back, following the sound. When he gets there, he looks up. Hanging directly above where he'd been sitting and writing his article for hours, there's a body, a decomposed corpse hanging from a rope. The body is old, rotting, with insects crawling in and out of what used to be a human being. But here's the part that'll mess you up forever. The screaming is coming from this corpse. This dead, rotting body is the source of the agonized screaming that's been echoing through the forest. Think about this for a second. Mike had been sitting under this hanging corpse for hours, writing about how the forest was safe and people should visit. And the whole time, there was a rotting body directly above his head. Mike jumps up from his spot, and immediately the entire forest erupts in screaming. Not just one voice, dozens of voices, all screaming from different directions. Every spirit in those woods is awake and angry. Mike abandons all his gear right there and starts running. He's pushing through branches, tripping over roots, just trying to get out alive. His phone's about to die, but he can see his car in the distance. As he's running, it feels like every step he takes, something is running alongside him, like he's being escorted out of the forest by things that want to make sure he leaves and never comes back. Finally, Mike reaches his car. He jumps in, starts the engine, and speeds away from Whispering Pines Forest as fast as he can. The next day, Mike brings police officers back to the forest to report the hanging body. And guys, this wasn't some hallucination or psychological break. The cops confirmed everything. The body was exactly where Mike said it would be, in the exact condition he described. They even found all his abandoned gear right where he left it. But here's the final detail that'll haunt you. When Mike looked back at the forest one last time before leaving with the police, that hanging corpse was staring directly at him. The dead body's eyes were open, and it was smiling. Mike never told the cops about that part. He went home and wrote a completely different article than the one he'd planned. Instead of promoting the forest as safe, he wrote a warning about what really happens in Whispering Pines. See, here's what Mike realized. People don't go to Whispering Pines planning to kill themselves. They go there curious, maybe looking for adventure or trying to debunk the legends. But something in that forest feeds off human despair and amplifies it until visitors can't see any other option but to become part of the forest forever. The spirits there don't just want you dead. They want you to join them. They want you to experience that same hopelessness and rage that trapped them in those woods. Guys, if you're ever driving through Oregon and you see signs for Whispering Pines Forest, keep driving. Don't even slow down, because once you step foot in those woods, your countdown begins. And the only way that countdown stops is when you become another story for someone else to tell. Before I end this video, I want to say something important. I know some of you watching might be going through tough times. Maybe you've thought about giving up, about not wanting to be here anymore. But listen to me, your life has value. Your story isn't over. Whatever you're going through, it's temporary. The pain you're feeling right now doesn't define your entire existence. If you're struggling, please reach out to someone. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 988. Talk to a friend, a family member, a counselor. Don't let the darkness win. Because guys, what if the stories are true? What if ending your life just traps you in an endless cycle of pain and regret? What if instead of finding peace, you just become another lost soul warning others to stay away? Your life is worth fighting for. Your story deserves a better ending than becoming a cautionary tale. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that like button if the story gave you chills, and subscribe for more true horror stories. And remember, some places in this world are better left unexplored. Stay safe out there.